in Oakland, and they missed it.
Yep, and I agree. I think that if they were going to get it done, they had to get it done that first game. They're not going to get close again. Like, LeBron played out of his mind, scoring a career high in a finals game. I just think that if there was any chance of them to win this series, because like we've already covered, this is the worst team that LeBron has carried over to the finals since maybe his first year.
Yep.
And the fact is, if they're gonna get a road win, that was the game to do it. They're all, as healthy legs as they're gonna be all series long. LeBron out of his mind, and he was getting shots from other people. I mean, as much as I hate to say this, the whole JR situation, it's like, come on, dude. Like, you need to know where you're at in that moment, and that just. Whenever the whole JR situation happened and he drew the ball out to the outside, I just knew. I was like, they're done. Like, they're not going to win this game. Yeah. They're not going to win this series. Their heads aren't in the game. It was right then and there.
Yeah, and no, I mean, like, you had this sinking feeling when you're seeing JR dribble that ball out, and you're like, oh no. If this goes to overtime, there is a 1% chance that the Cavs win this thing, because obviously – the low point of saying we had a shot to win it in regulation, both with that second free throw by George Hill, and then the putback that didn't happen from JR didn't happen, and now the Warriors have, kind of dodged a bullet there, and they have the home crowd with them, and if they just hit 2 or 3 threes in a row, this thing could be very well over. LeBron is spent, and everything else with that. It did seem like once that final buzzer sounded at regulation, that Cleveland just did not have a chance. So I was pretty disappointed, because I'm definitely rooting for Cleveland here. I don't know if I've always been the biggest LeBron James fan. I can't say I've ever been his biggest hater. I know there's people who have disliked him ever since his Miami days and continue to. I've never been in that camp. I've always appreciated kind of just his play and put aside whatever mistakes he's made in social media or the way he presented himself. But I can say now I'm a very big fan of LeBron James, and I just think that witnessing something historic is kind of what you watch sports for. And I think, either way, Golden State winning a second straight title in 3rd in 4 years is historic, but I think the most historic would be LeBron James. If he wins this series, I don't think there's any argument that he's the greatest player of all time by taking this Cavs team and beating the juggernaut Warriors, but it's obviously leaping too far ahead. So I was definitely rooting for the Cavs to win that game, and now I just kind of feel a little bit deflated, thinking the Cavs may now have as little a shot of winning this thing as people thought before Game 1, just because they weren't able to put Golden State away in that Game 1. So we'll see what happens in Game 2, which is tomorrow night, I believe at 5 o'clock. And that will be, once again, from Oakland. See if LeBron James has any more gas in the tank to take the Warriors maybe out of their game, and see if they can salvage one game in Oakland. Bobby, did you think that at the end of the game, when Tristan Thompson kind of had that closeout and he got ejected, do you think that was warranted at all by the referees? Maybe they're trying to tamp down any animosity before anything happens, or did it kind of just seem like they were being a little too loosey-goosey with their whistles?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think that they're getting a little bit jumpy on the whistles in the NBA. I feel like watching the NBA lately, you've been seeing that a lot, especially in the last 2 series. I just think that at the same time, this is going to be a chippy match, a chippy, finals, just because these two teams are so and in the last 4 years against each other that, it's all or nothing at this point. So I think that brings out the chippiness, the fact that they know each other, and then with the referees a little loose on the whistle, I think it's just a mixture of both.
Yeah, I agree with that. So do you have a prediction now that we've seen Game 1? Do you see a Warrior sweep? Do you see a 5-game series? Do you see somehow the Cavs getting back into this thing?
Oh, man, it's so... I think it's over, but I want to say it's going to be a compelling series, but like I told you, I don't. So I'm going to say it's a sweep.
Okay. Yeah, I hope not. I think the Cavs will get one game in Cleveland. I think it'll be probably a 5-game series. If they would have won game one, I could have said a 6 or 7-game series. But losing that shot is just a big hole to overcome. So I'll say 5-game series. If Cleveland does lose this in 4 or 5 games, do you think that cements that LeBron is going somewhere else?
Yes, I do. I think that he has to go somewhere else. So they're just not giving him enough help. They're bringing in guys that just are not playmakers, not benefactors. I get that LeBron would love to make it happen in Cleveland again, but he's already done that. He's accomplished his main goal of winning a championship for the city of Cleveland. Now he needs to go and possibly win more on a team that gives him the star power behind him. Right.
Yeah. I tend to agree with that. I mean, he did do what he came to do, and some of his quotes the last couple of days in the week leading up to Game 1 were kind of telling. Where I believe it was Rachel Nichols who asked him, "Will his relationship with owner Dan Gilbert, who they famously don't have a very good relationship after the Comic Sans letter when LeBron left, they don't have a great relationship." And Rachel Nichols asked LeBron if that bad relationship would play into his decision this summer, and he said, "We'll see." He didn't say no. He said, "We'll see." So that LeBron is kind of cryptic like that with stuff like that. So that may portend a leave this summer if they don't accomplish a champion. Hey, and if they come back and win a championship, he can say, "We did it twice, and I did more than I came here to do. And I don't want to have to carry these bums anymore. I'm going somewhere else." So we'll see what happens. But that is obviously a month away. Free agency starts in July. So we'll see what happens with the NBA Finals as we continue on. We'll update you next time we talk. Update from the French Open, which is just going on. Serena Williams just won her second round match, 6-3, 6-4. So Serena back on the comeback trail after having her baby last year. And good to see that. And we will update you on Tiger when we come back. Now, Bobby, do you want to talk? What do you want to talk when we come back? We've got to go to a break. Talk some UFC?
Talk a little UFC?
Yeah, sounds good. All right, when we come back, we will talk about what happened yesterday and last week with the UFC. Marlon Moraes getting a huge win in the bantamweight division. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson getting outpointed by Darren Till in Liverpool. We'll talk about that and more. Maybe a little bit of talk about what's coming up this next weekend, but we'll do our full preview next week for that. This is Clubbing the Goods. This is Spreaker Radio. We will be right back.
It's not easy to try to know that I'm taking your heart, feeling steady inside, hoping to feel I'm enough, seems so far down from perfect view, feeling like
you're listening to Clubbing the Goods on Spreaker Radio.
You've got me, I'm feeling so high.
Hi there, Alex Klepper from Clubbing the Goods here. Seeing as how Bob and myself are just getting this whole thing started again, we thought we'd reach a hand out to you across the interwebs, unfurl that hand slowly yet assuredly, and slowly caw into your ear. Got any change, bruh? Now see, Bobby and myself are both hardworking men, but this is still a hobby. And maybe one day we'd like it to be a little bit more? Well, that's where you come in, my friend. If you or your business is looking to get your name out there to the millions of Kleppiacs and Goodsians out there, now is your chance. Shoot me an email at abklepper@gmail.com or reach out to me on Twitter and let's talk business. Cool? Cool.
Someday, I wanna lay down like I did on Sunday. Sunday, I remember these songs. Sunday, that way, yeah, way, that day. Someday, I wanna tell everybody. Someday, I wanna hit the red dot and everybody. Someday.
Now back to Club in the Goods on Spreaker Radio.
I've been trying to make you love me.
All right, welcome back to Club in the Goods here on this June 2nd. That last song from Kanye's new album. Kanye's done some dumbass stuff the last month or so, but he can still make a record. So had to put that in there. Like the music, but Kanye, stop with the dumb stuff, okay? Because I like listening to your music, and I don't want to have to try to defend myself by you saying really stupid shit. So
yeah,
there you go.
You're right there. It's on the borderline that you're getting away with listening to his music.
Yeah, no, I know. I figure, if people need to use everything as a social cause, there's still going to be a line I draw with my favorite stuff. I know Kanye's been really dumb, but you know what? I can't make my entire life a social statement. I do enough of that with everything else, so I'm just gonna allow myself to like Kanye still, and I can do all my social stuff. Hey, I'm wearing orange today. I'm wearing orange for gun violence awareness. So you know what? I think that allows me to listen to Kanye. All right.
You're so woke.
I am so woke. I'm the wokest person in the studio right now. There's one person in the studio, but I am definitely the wokest of the me. So
there you go.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate that, Bobby. That means a lot. All right, Bobby. Last night, people in Utica, New York, hopefully they were woke. It was 1 a.m. as the main event happened. I'm not sure why they drew that out so long, considering it was on the East Coast. And I was watching that main event last night on FS1 at 10 o'clock. And if you do the math, that would make it 1 a.m. But it was a very exciting main event for the UFC's first trip to Utica, New York. We saw Marlon Moraes knock out Jimmy Rivera, a guy who had won 20 fights in a row. His only loss in his MMA career was a split decision loss very early in his career. A guy that beat up Uriah Faber pretty good 2 years ago. Beat up Thomas Almeida very good last year and was looking like he might be the guy to challenge the winner of Cody Garbrandt and TJ Dillashaw for the next title shot. And in comes Marlon Moraes, who lost his debut in the UFC when he came last year, lost a split decision to Rafael Assunção, and since has won 3 in a row, a split over John Dodson, knocked out Aljamain Sterling with that knee. It was just an absolutely brutal knockout. And then now the knockout of Jimmy Rivera. So Marlon Moraes now looking like he could be the next guy for a bantamweight title shot. A very exciting fight, maybe kind of a long night of fights if you had to sit through the entire thing. But do you think we are seeing the guy who could challenge someone like TJ Dillashaw or Cody Garbrandt in the bantamweight division, Bobby?
I think it's still clearly those two at the top. I get where you're coming from, where there might be a reason for a challenge, but I still think Cody Garbrandt and TJ Dillashaw are head and shoulders above the rest, and it just, I don't know, everything I see those two guys than anything.
Yeah, and so Marlon Moraes, if you're not accustomed or not attuned to what he's done in the past, he was the World Series of Fighting bantamweight champion for a couple of years. He came into the UFC at 18-4 with 1 draw, and then he did lose that initial fight in the UFC at UFC 212 to Rafael Assunção. That was, I watched that fight. I remember thinking that was probably Moraes' to win, but the judges saw that differently. And then his fight against John